Welcome back to our YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful asymmetric one shoulder bubu. It has this beautiful velvet trimming on the neckline, on the sleeve, and all the way down. And we're going to be making this mixing two different prints. It's a very beautiful tutorial, as we have seen, and it's simple to make. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you.
To make this bubu, I'm working with these two Ankara prints. Okay, the bubu is just like an asymmetric bubu, so one fabric is going to be for one side and then the other is going to represent the other half of the dress. So we'll do this for both front and back, and we're going to interchange it. I'm going to be cutting with one first because I don't want to waste too much fabric, and then I'm going to be using that to cut excuse me, the other patterns. So we're working with these two fabric, and then we're also going to work with this velvet bias. So this bias is quite wide, it's about 2 inches. Okay, that's what we're going to use to tape the point where the two meet. We're going to use it to tape the neckline as well, and then we're going to use one to join the shoulder as well. So this is what I'm working with, and you can see that it's 2 inches just like I mentioned. So now we're going to start to cut this. Okay, so now I have folded the fabric into two. Remember I said I'm going to use one to cut the other. So here is my starting point. I'm going to take my shoulder measurement here. The shoulder is 8 inches. I'm going to mark that, and then after taking my shoulder measurement, I'm going to take the sleeve measurement. It's a cut together sleeve. It's like a kimono. So the sleeve that I want to work with is going to be around 10 inches, 10 to 11 inches. It's going to be on my elbow. So if I'm working with 11 inches altogether, I have about 19 inches for my width. Okay, you can see this is 19 inches up to here. So you just work with whatever it is that you want. So after that, I'm going to just mark a tentative neckline. The neck width, I'm going to leave it at 3 inches, and then the neck depth, I'm going to leave it at 3 inches as well. So I'll connect that together just like this, and then on that point where my sleeve stops, which is here, I'm going to go down by 1.5 inches for my shoulder slope, and then I'll connect that back to my neck point. So I have connected the shoulder slope, and then on that point I'm going to mark my sleeve opening. I want the sleeve opening to be around 9 inches. Okay, 9 inches, and then I can add 1 inch seam allowance to make it 10. Okay, so I'll make that into a straight line. I'm just trying to mark the same 19 inches here so that I can have something straight. It's a free bubu. It's not going to be tightly fitted, so you don't need too much measurement to it. Okay, so here I'm just going to take my bust measurement on that point, and then I'm going to add few inches to it because, like I said, it's not going to be tightly fitted. The bust is 44, the divided by 4 is 11, so this is 11 here, and then I'm going to add maybe 2 inches, 1.5 inches for ease, and probably 1 inch for seam allowance. So you can see I have about 13.5 inches, which is fine for me. If you want it shaped a little bit on the waistline, you just need to mark your half length. Okay, so me, for my half length is around 18 inches, which is here. So my waist is 34, divided by 4 is 8.5. So I have 8.5 inches here. I'm going to add the same ease that I added and the same seam allowance that I added for the waist, for the bust. So I'm connecting from my waist to my hip. You can see I still added half an inch there because I don't want it to be tightly fitted, like I said. So now I'm going to go over to my hip as well. My hip line is 26 inches, so I'll mark that 26 inches, and then on that point I'm going to take my hip measurement with ease as well. The hip is 44 as well, so I have 11 inches here. I'll add his, and then I'll add my seam allowance, and this hip measurement, this 13.5 inches that I have there, is what I'm going to take all the way to the hem. It's just going to be a straight line. You can also make yours in form of an A line, because if you take it down straight like this, it may not be so easy to work with. Okay, so I think I'm just going to change my mind and make mine an A-line as well, so that I can work freely in it. So if you are making it an A-line, you don't need to shape it on your waistline, on your hip line. So from your waist now, once I have shaped the waist, what I'm going to do now is to just go ahead and connect from this waist all the way to the hem. Okay, so you can use a ruler for this, or you use your free hand like I am doing. So you can see now I have connected it all the way to my hem. So I'm going to cut this out now so that we can see it better, and then we'll shape the neckline. But before you cut it out, you don't want this sleeve area to be this sharp. So what I'm just going to do now is to just give it a smooth transition like this. You can see how I just curved it so that I can easily cut that part. So I have cut the pattern out. You can see my neckline, you can see the sleeve area, and then this is the little shaping that we have on the waistline, and then from there you just go all the way to the hem like that. So like I said, it's an asymmetric neckline, so which means we have one side that has a full shoulder and then the other one is an off shoulder. So I'm going to open out what I have here, and then you choose the side that you want to be off shoulder for this particular fabric, although you can wear it both ways because it's not going to have a zipper. So now what you just need to do is to choose the side that you want to be off. So like I said, you just choose that side. So this side is where I want to place my off shoulder. So you need to measure how off you want it to be. As a guide, I'm just going to mark 3 inches. I still prefer to check the neckline first. So if it is too small, you can broaden it, but if it's too wide, it's going to give you some challenges. So that's why I'm just going to leave it at 3 inches. So you can see from my neck point here, I'm marking 3 inches to that side. So here on my center neckline, this is the center of my neckline. Remember, we already marked 3 inches. So, and there is no zipper. I want it to be as wide as possible so that I can easily wear it. So from the 3 inches, I'm just going to mark extra 1 inch or 1.5 inches. So if I'm marking 1 inch, I'll just leave it at 4 inches. Okay, this is the center point. And then as a guide to join them together, to connect them, here on the neck point of the part that is off, I'm also going to mark maybe 4 inches or 4.5 inches there. And then from there, now from my neckline, from this neckline, the one with shoulder, I'm going to connect. Okay, you can use a curve for this as well. You have a curve that can help you. So from there, I'm going to connect to my new neck depth for the center. Okay, and then from there again, I'm going to connect to my 3 inches. Okay, and then I'm going to connect everything together. So you can see I'm just taking it one at a time. And like I said, you can also use your free hand. If you want it wider, yeah, you just increase it. You just know what to do. Just increase it according to what you want. So now after connecting this, I'll bring in my scissors and then cut out my new neckline shape. Okay, I still increased a little bit there if you noticed. So you can see on this side I still have my regular shoulder, and here I have it a little bit off. So you can make it as off as you want. So now that we are done with the neckline, the next thing now is to work on the asymmetric part of the dress. Okay, so now to create that, you look for where the previous neck point stop. Okay, remember before this part, for this part, where before we changed it to an off shoulder. So you can mark that before you cut it out, or you simply place where you cut out. You can place it anywhere you want, but I just want this to be like a guide. So remember, this is the actual neck point that we have for the off shoulder part as well. So if you take this down now, it's going to be around here. Okay, that's where the neck point is. It's somewhere around here. So that's where I want to place my design on. That's the line I want it to follow. So after marking it on the neck point, the next thing you go is to go over to the hem of the dress. Okay, on the hem of the dress as well, what I just did was simply to divide what I have here into 4, and then I just marked quarter of it. Okay, remember, assuming the total hem, if I have 40 inches and I divide that into 4, I'm going to have 10 inches. So that 10 inches is what you're going to mark here. But in this case, remember we use the length of our ankara, which is 45 inches. So after dividing that into 4, I had about 11 inches, you can see. So that's what I marked here. But basically you can mark whatever it is that you want, but I just want us to have a measurement to it. That's why I'm doing this. So now what I'm going to do is to connect from this mark, this 11 inches mark on the hem, to this point on the neckline. So of course that's going to be a diagonal line, it's not going to be straight. So I am going to go ahead now and mark that, and then we can cut it out. So I have connected it. You can see the diagonal line, it runs from the neckline like this, and then it just goes all the way to the hem. So like I said, it can go whatever ways you want, but these are just simple ways that you can understand it. That's why I'm just putting those measurements to it. So I'm going to cut it out now, and then I'm going to place it on the other. So you have to be careful with the placement now, okay? So you have to be careful with the placement. Make sure that you are cutting the right side. So I'm going to place this on the other fabric now, and then I'm going to use it to cut out the other pattern. Okay, remember we are going to be interchanging it for both front and back, so you have to be mindful of how you are going to cut this. So I'll cut this, and then I'll bring it back for us to see what we have and how we are going to join it. So I've gone ahead to cut for the other fabric as well. You can see this is the side with the shoulder, and this is the side that is off shoulder. So I replaced the green with this other fabric, and then for the other side you can see the side with shoulder is cut with this fabric, and then the other side is cut with the green fabric. So that was why I said you have to be mindful of how you place it, so that you're not going to cut the wrong side for the right side. Okay, it's very important. So now what I'm going to do now is to go ahead and join them back. Remember we slashed it open on this side, so I'll join them for the front and back, so that I'll have just one single piece. And after that I'm going to join the shoulder, and I'll bring this for us to show us how to tape it. So I have sewn it, you can see. So you just press open this seam so that it can be flat. So this is the front and this is the back. You can see that the seam is on the same point because we use them to cut each other, of course. So this is what it looks like on the right side, and then I went ahead to sew it on the shoulder point so that I can have the two of them together. So now I'm going to open it out now, and this is what I have. So you can first turn this with a bias, or you use a facing for it, and then you just tape with your favorite bias all round, or you can just turn it with your favorite bias as well. But before you do this, you can just go ahead and place it on your neckline to see if what you have, or if you like what you have on your off shoulder area, if it is off enough for you. So if you feel that it is not off as you want it more off on this side, that is the off shoulder side, you can just go ahead and then cut it out more. But for me, I like what I have here so far. I'll just go ahead and tape the neckline with my bias. So I have taped the neckline with the bias, you can see. Okay, like I said, it's a wide bias, so it's about 2 inches. So what I'm going to do next is to tape my bias at the center point. So this point where we sew the two sides together, I'm just going to centralize the bias like this, and then place it, and then I'm going to sew it on both sides. So you sew from the hem all the way to the neckline area here, and then back to the other neckline. So when you get to the neckline, remember we took out 4 inches. Okay, remember this was our initial measurement that we started with, and then when we get to the neck point of the other one that does not have a shoulder, that's the half shoulder. Remember we took out 4 inches. We measured 4 inches downwards to connect. So that 4 inches, I'm going to replace it back here now. So when I get to this point, okay, when I sew and I get to this neckline area, I'm going to mark 4 inches for the front and 4 inches for the back. That's going to be 8 inches. So I'll just mark the 8 inches. Okay, from here I'm going to mark the 8 inches. So from the 8 inches, that's when I will start connecting to the other one. I hope you understand, so that by the time I finish sewing it, I will have 4 inches coming up like this, 4 inches here, 4 inches here. I hope you understand. That's going to be like a strap to hold it together, so that even if it's too off, this is still going to be on your shoulder, so it's going to form like a cold shoulder sleeve for us. So after doing that, I'm going to tape the, if I still have enough bias, I'm going to tape the sleeve area with the bias as well on both sides, and then I'm just going to close my bodice and sew it on the side and hem it. So this video is already very long, that's why I just explained what I want to do. I will tape these 2 points where the two Ankara fabric meet. I'm going to tape it with the bias, and when I get to the neckline, I'm going to leave 8 inches before I continue taping the back, which is going to serve as my strap. So after that, I'm going to tape the shoulder. You can hem it or you tape it with your bias if you have enough. And also I'm going to sew the side seam and hem the lower part.
So I have taped this with bias, and I also taped the sleeve as well with bias, and then I sew it on both sides and hem the lower part. So this is the extension that I said we should leave, the 8 inches extension on the shoulder. That's it on the shoulder, forming the strap that we have there. So you just need to leave enough. Whatever it is that you cut out is what you are going to leave on the shoulder part. So that's going to be the strap that's going to be on your shoulder, just like that. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, kindly like, comment and share. Thank you. See you in the next one. Bye.